Guys, out of all the retro systems out there, the Dreamcast system always impresses me. There are still people making games for this 20 years later. It's pretty insane. And in this video, I'm going to talk about 14 or 14-ish games that I think you guys should look out for the system. Now, before we get started, I do want to take you to the website called Nights into Dream, where you could get a lot of these games I'm going to talk about in the video from. They have almost 100 games to choose from fan translations, repros, homebrews, all kinds of cool stuff that will keep your Dreamcast active and in party mode. Of course, I'll leave links in the description on where you can buy these from, and towards the end of the video, I will go over the quality of their product. Alright everyone, let the party begin. So here is Dolphin Blue. Now, I talked about this game on my channel before, and now you guys know where to get a copy of the game now. People quit asking me that. But anyways, this is an awesome run and gun shooter that was only released for the Atomic Wave. There was no way to play this game unless you had that hardware or knew how to emulate it. This run and gun, it can be a bit tough for some people because the sprites are so big, but the game is beautiful, and once you get used to it, it really falls into place. It's a great soundtrack. It looks great, fast action. It just really keeps you on your toes. But I have to warn you guys, once you get to the 5th level, and this being a port of an arcade game, this game was meant to take your quarters. That 5th level is brutal. It is so annoying. Sometimes, you know, I turn the game off when I get to that level. You know, just sometimes I do. It's just like, the levels is brutal. But anyways, guys, here is Dolphin Blue. Definitely a game you're going to want to have in your collection. Here's Demolition Fist. This is a side-scrolling beat-em-up, and to be honest with you guys, if you guys remember that game Fighting Force for the PlayStation, and I think it came out for Dreamcast, this is what that game should have been. Seriously, this is how you do a 3D graphics type beat-em-up, I would say. Now, one of the essential things in a beat-em-up game is gotta have fast action. I mean, I gotta feel like a lot of stuff is going on. I gotta really feel entertained. You know, I don't want it to be all stale like, of course, games like Fighting Force, which this game is not. Now, you can choose between 4 characters in the beginning of the game, and each character has their own combos that'll kind of appear during the game as you go through it. If you remember some of the combos already, I guess you could pull them off, but they will appear as you get further in the game, which is kind of nice. One thing that gets crazy in this game is that you get this move called the vertigo move once you get your meter charged up, and pretty much everything goes in slow motion for the enemies. You go extremely fast and you do combos on everybody all over the place. It's really wild. It's a great way to get enemies off the screen and definitely a good tactic to use against bosses. This game is perfect for the Dreamcast. It's like, it should have been made for the Dreamcast, honestly, officially at least. Definitely try this one out, guys. You will not regret it.
Come on! Iron Fist Genie, Stellar.
Here is IrionClad for the Dreamcast. Now, this game came out for the Neo Geo CD, but unless you want to pay the price that's going for, I would suggest like sticking with the Dreamcast version. So this game is a horizontal shooter, and it is freaking fantastic. A lot of stuff going on, lots of explosions. One of the things I really like is that when you pick your ship, you pretty much get this option robot that kind of like does like random shots that kind of help you out during the levels, which is pretty cool. You get upgrades and power-ups during the level for the robot and your ship, and it's just really helpful. I really like the whole idea of how it helps you, and it's just a lot of stuff going on in this game. You'll fight mini bosses, and also you can change paths after each level, so you can always have a different experience every time you play the game. I think that's great, great to have. But if any of you have played this game, you know, let us know in the comments what you think about it, because this game took me by surprise. And one of the things that really stands out for me, besides, of course, the gameplay, is the music. The music is so fitting for the game. The levels, the bosses, it's just really intense. Very well done on the soundtrack. Here's the King of Fighters NeoWave. So this used to be a Thomas Wave arcade exclusive, and pretty much this is like a dream match for the King of Fighters series. It has like all kind of different characters from the King of Fighters 94 and 98. Just like the older games, it uses the 3-on-3 combat. No story mode, but it does have young Geese Howard as the final boss, and he's pretty tough, especially if you guys have played Art of Fighting 2. You remember how he was in that one. Pretty insane. But the game's a lot of fun. Lots of cool characters like Hyo's dad. He's in it. I tried to use him. He's pretty weird to use, but this is probably the best version of him to use because I believe he was in King of Fighters 94 or 95, and yeah, I don't really remember him too well on that one. But anyways, definitely a cool fighting game you guys want to check out on the Dreamcast. But one thing I gotta mention, when you're at the character select screen, make sure you choose your characters fast because that timer goes down quickly. I was kind of surprised. They only give you 10 seconds to choose 3 characters, so make sure you choose wisely. Now here's the King of Fighters 11. Now story-wise, this is like pretty much in the story of the games. I would say this is my favorite in the series. This was the second one to introduce the tag team during the match, so you can switch out characters, kind of like similar to Marvel vs. Capcom. I thought that was really cool, and they finally upgraded Terry Bogart's look, man. I'm sorry, that Drifter outfit is so played out, man. I thought it was cool when I was a kid, but now looking at it, it's like, dude, like, man, just give dude a new outfit. But anyways, he's got his Mark of the Wolves attire. The game adds a lot of characters that have not been in the King of Fighters games before, so I thought that was really cool. You got B. Janet from Mark of the Wolves, Duck King from Fatal Fury is in here, and all kind of cool people. I just really like this game a lot. It's definitely my favorite in the series story-wise. Now, if you guys want to know what my favorite King of Fighters is of all time, it's pretty much King of the Fighters 2002 Unlimited match. There's nothing that can pass that game up. That is a dream come true. But this game is right up there with it, so definitely check this one out as well. Here is Knights of Valour. This is one of the many beat 'em ups that's probably been lost to people like over time. You know, I don't know if this was popular in arcades when it was in arcades. I don't really know. This came out when arcades were pretty much almost dead in the United States. So a lot of people probably don't know about this game, but this is a 2-player beat 'em up. In the arcade, it might have been a 4-player beat 'em up. I'm not really sure, but the game is beautiful to look at. Lots of beautiful character sprites on screen, lots of characters to fight on screen at once, so it gets pretty hectic. But I think if you're a beat 'em up fan, this is one you might want to check out. Now here is the Rumblefish Part 2. The first game actually came out on the PS2 years ago, and I don't think this is a series that a lot of people know about. And the first game was pretty good, but the second game blows the first one out of the water. I think it's very well done. More characters, more craziness. This is one of those games where your characters can actually get battle damage from what I've seen. It was pretty cool. Just like a traditional fighting game, I think this might be one that people want to check out. Exclusive to the Dreamcast, as far as I know, on home console through Homebrew. This is a must-own if you like fighting games and you got some general skills and knowledge with fighting games, because this game does not hold your hand. These characters will beat you down. It's no joke. But a lot of the special moves are pretty cool to look at, and I actually like this one. It's really fun to play. So, like I said, you got to be a fan of fighting games, and you got to have some skills. Here is The Adventures of Little Ralph ported to the Dreamcast. Yes, my favorite platform game of all time has been ported to the Dreamcast, and it is exactly the same as the PlayStation counterpart. It's just if you buy this version, you'll be paying a lot less. Now, to this day, I think this is the best platformer of all time. It takes the best elements out of platformers and puts it all into one. This is a fantastic game, and it's just so many amazing things in it. The music, the character sprites, the story even, if you can understand it. This game gets a 10 out of 10 from me. It was one of the first reviews I did when I started my channel, so, you know, I'm not saying you got to go back and watch that video, but still, man, it's just an amazing game. And now a lot of you can play it on your Dreamcast. Now here is the Beats of Rage collection. This consists of 21 games that are freaking awesome, and if you like beat 'em ups, this is the collection for you. But mainly we're going to focus on Double Dragon Extreme here. This game is pretty much a Beats of Rage remake of Double Dragon 1, Double Dragon 2, and somewhat of a sequel to those games. They kind of turned Double Dragon 2, the arcade game, into the same story Double Dragon 2, the game for Nintendo, has. It's kind of hard to explain, but let's just say it has more levels on it. I guess you could just say it like this. Think of Double Dragon 2 without the platforming parts. You know, if Double Dragon 2 didn't have any platforming parts in it, and pretty much it plays like Double Dragon, the arcade game. So I like this game a lot. As you guys know, Double Dragon 2, the arcade game, is one of my favorite beat 'em ups of all time. So for them to kind of add the extra levels and add better story to it was freaking amazing. But anyways, this Beats of Rage collection, like I said, has 21 awesome beat 'em up games, so you'll get plenty of games for your money here. Here's Alien vs. Predator Aftermath. So if you guys play Alien vs. Predator, the arcade game made by Capcom, you know that game was actually a pretty good beat 'em up. This version here is pretty much somewhat the same as the arcade game, but it's a bit harder. A lot of the bosses are pretty tough, so you got to make sure you're in the right position to attack and somewhat dodge. But when you get to the queen, you guys will know what I'm talking about. It seems like she has this move that'll just knock you down every time, so it's pretty annoying. But it's still fun to play this game. I think they did a pretty good job on it. I still haven't beat it yet, so I can't tell you how it is all the way through. But yeah, it's a bit rough, but it's still a fun game. So if you like what you're seeing here, you might want to pick this one up. If not, let's move to the next game. Here's Rainbow Cotton. This was the last game in the series before the series got rebooted a few years ago. So this game came out originally back in 2000, and out of all the games in the series at the time, this one had the highest production values. Animated cutscenes, voice acting, just like really cool looking levels. Now, if you like games like Space Harrier, this is more for you because this is a rail shooter, but it's a bit slow with its pacing, I would say. But that doesn't take away from the game at all, and I think this game is actually a lot of fun, though a lot of people kind of like looked away from it. Now, this game did have an official release, but this version here is actually translated in English, so if you want to follow the story cutscenes, which are actually pretty long, now you can read them in English. So that's the only major difference with this one. Like I said, I think this is a pretty solid game, and you might want to like add this one to your collection. Here's Twinkle Star Sprites. I've wanted to talk about this game on my channel for a long time now. I think I talked about its sequel. But going into this game, this is a competitive shoot 'em up that is freaking amazing. So basically what you want to do in this game, obviously you play like a regular shoot 'em up. You shoot all the enemies on your screen, but you have to take care of them as soon as possible because pretty much your partner or the person you're going against is doing the same thing. And whatever they shoot goes onto your screen. So you have to make sure you try to clear out your screen as best as possible. Use charge shots, bombs, anything to get your opponent like distracted and messed up. It's a lot of fun, very competitive, and very addicting. Here is the Fatal Fury collection. Now, this consists of Fatal Fury Special, Fatal Fury 3, and Mark of the Wolves. I'm just going to show you gameplay from Fatal Fury 3, as that game was probably my favorite for a good while. Even though I know it's not the best Fatal Fury game, I consider actually the second and Mark of the Wolves to be the best ones. But this one had a special place in my heart back in the day, so I wanted to try this one out. Now, with Fatal Fury 3, it's kind of like strange how it compares to the other games. I always said it was like a more enhanced version of the first game, like actually just more playable with a couple new features. But part 2, I think out of the original trilogy is probably the most balanced one. Special is kind of weird, but I really like part 2 as the more balanced game. Anyways, getting back to part 3, lots of cool animations. Fighting against the AI, it's very weird because they kind of like they map your buttons sometimes, so you have to be very careful of what kind of attacks you do when you jump at enemies and stuff like that. They'll automatically counter you, so you have to kind of get around that. But Other than that stuff, this is a really good game once you get used to it. I just feel a lot of love for this entry in the series. But like I said, you're getting Special, Fatal Fury 3, and Mark of the Wolves in this collection, so definitely worth your time.
Go!
7 Mansions Ghastly Smiles is a survival horror game that actually started on the Sega Saturn and was pretty much ported to the Dreamcast. You kind of tell with the way the graphics are. It was going to get a Western release, but we know what happened with the Dreamcast on the West, so that never happened. So you play the game as 2 college students looking for their professor on this island, and the action starts pretty much immediately. You get inside this laboratory and you get locked in, and the monsters start stalking you. It's pretty crazy. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Carrier for the Dreamcast. Like, if you could hear it, you already did. Remember that little tagline they used to have? The game's kind of like that. If you hear the monster, it's usually very close to you. But a lot of the monsters in this game so far that I've seen, they're not really too threatening. You have these melee attacks you can kind of lock them up in pretty much, so they aren't too bad once you learn how to do that. But I haven't got that far yet, so I can't tell you how it gets later in the game, but I'm having a good time so far. It does give you that sense of dread that you have when you feel like you're alone and playing survival horror games, so that's a good thing. But hopefully things will stay or get better later on as I get farther through the game. But hopefully you guys like what you're seeing here. This one is available as well. Alright, so here I wanted to show you guys the quality of their product. So you see Dolphin Blue here, you open it up, it even has a back art insert, kind of like an advertisement for another game, which is really cool. Everything looks really authentic, very impressive to add to the collection. So here's the King of Fighters NeoWave. Now when you open this up, you'll see a really cool advertisement for an upcoming game at the time. Fatal Fury, Mark of the Wolves, the future is now, SNK. That is so cool that they put that in there. It just shows that a lot of thought went into this process of making this look really authentic. Alright, so here's Twinkle Star Sprites. I think this has the same artist. Yep, Fatal Fury, Mark of the Wolves. It's still outstanding to look at. So, oh my god, I love that art. They should have used that art for the cover of the game originally. Also, too, every game comes with these strips, just like the Japanese versions from back in the day for games. I forgot what they call these things. You guys in the comments will let me know, I'm pretty sure. I have a Model 1 Dreamcast, and I'm pretty sure most people do. So all these games work as soon as I put them in the system. But if you have a Model 2, you might need a boot disk, and there's information on how to do that with every game. Well guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Definitely check out their site. Remember, it's called Nights into Dream, just like the video game on the Sega Saturn. They have a lot of stuff to look at, and they also have an Instagram, but the Instagram is looking pretty barren here. Better add some more pictures up here pretty soon. Anyways guys, that's all I got for you. Radical Reggie, and I will see you all in the next video.